Ever wondered how someone wins an argument even when they don't have solid reasoning? In this video, we will break down a manipulative tactic often used in public debates and political discussions. This strategy isn't about convincing the person they're arguing with. It's about convincing the audience and creating the illusion of being right. By learning these methods, you can protect yourself and others from falling victim to it. Stage 1. Triggering your opponent. When someone doesn't have strong logical arguments, they often rely on emotional manipulation to gain an advantage. Their primary goal in this stage is to steer the conversation away from reason and facts and make their opponent look bad. Here's how they achieve this. Instead of addressing logical points, they accuse their opponent of being too cold, calculating, or unempathetic. This deflects attention from facts and shifts the focus to feelings. They don't argue against ideas or evidence, but instead criticize the character, motivations, or background of their opponent. By creating an emotional and chaotic atmosphere, they throw their opponent off balance. Once the discussion becomes emotionally charged, it's easier to move to the next step. Stage 2. Overloading with questions. With emotions running high, the manipulator takes advantage of the situation by overwhelming their opponent with a barrage of questions. These questions aren't asked in good faith or to seek clarity. Instead, their purpose is to frustrate and derail. Each time their opponent starts to answer a question, they interject with another one, creating a non-stop cycle of interruptions. This technique makes it nearly impossible for the opponent to complete a thought or explain their arguments clearly. This relentless questioning wears down their opponent's patience and forces them to ask for a pause or an opportunity to speak uninterrupted. At this point, the manipulator pretends to act graciously by allowing them to talk, but this too is part of the strategy. Stage 3. Pretending to listen. In this phase, the manipulator shifts gears and feigns respectful attention. They remain silent, giving the impression that they are listening with an open mind. But their silence hides another layer of manipulation. By staring intently, they make their opponent feel pressured and self-conscious, which can further destabilize their delivery. They subtly undermine their opponent by reacting with smirks, raised eyebrows, scoffs, or dismissive chuckles. These nonverbal cues are designed to signal doubt or ridicule without saying a word. This calculated silence often makes their opponent speak at length, trying harder and harder to make their point. But the more the opponent talks, the more agitated they appear. To the audience, this can create the perception that the opponent is flustered or even irrational, even if their arguments are valid. Stage 4. Dismissing the argument. Once their opponent has finished speaking, the manipulator delivers the final blow. Instead of addressing the substance of what was said, they focus on discrediting the person or dismissing their argument entirely. Here's how they do it. They accuse their opponent of being aggressive, overly emotional, or monopolizing the conversation. This shifts attention away from the points raised. Rather than engaging with the argument, they label it as delusional, unrealistic, or out of touch with reality. No explanation is offered. The dismissal alone is meant to be enough. By framing their opponent as unreasonable or disconnected, they sway the audience without having to provide better ideas or evidence. The manipulator's goal isn't to win through logic, but to create the perception that their opponent has already lost. Why this matters? This tactic isn't just a clever debate trick. It's a form of manipulation designed to control public perception. Politicians, influencers, and public figures often use it to sway opinions, not by presenting solutions or valid arguments, but by discrediting their opponents and playing to the audience's emotions. Recognizing these tactics is essential. A good argument is built on respect, evidence, and meaningful engagement with ideas. When you see someone relying on manipulation, ask yourself, are they genuinely contributing to the discussion, or are they trying to control how others perceive it? Stay vigilant, and don't let flashy rhetoric or emotional theatrics cloud your judgment. The most persuasive speaker isn't always the most honest or knowledgeable. By understanding these strategies, you'll be better equipped to spot and resist them. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to like,